Raytysha. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I am so excited for our conversation.
Me too. So I know you have a book on mental health. So
Yes.
what inspired for you to write the book on, mental health virtual learning in the classroom?
Yes, that's a great question. So the main inspiration behind this book, which I have right here, How to Thrive in the Virtual
Can I just
Classroom.
chime in? I love the artwork on it. I love the cover of it.
Oh
It's
my God.
not too much, it's not too little. And it's
Yes.
great. It's great colors. I love it.
Aw, thank you so much. That means the world to me. It's really cool to write a book because it's you spend so long planning and designing and then to see it in person, it's so full circle. But so I would say the main inspiration, behind How to Thrive in the Virtual Classroom was truly just at the beginning of COVID-19, I was coaching teenagers over Zoom. And, like a therapist, I was talking with them about their issues going on in their life, their stresses, high school pressure, everything in between. And I really was seeing, honestly, how just torn they were. And they were so upset over missing out on prom, graduation, all of these, really milestone moments that kind of shape you into who you are. And so I really took it upon myself to just be that person because when I was a teenager, I struggled and I seriously just constantly thought to myself, I wish I was brave enough to be that girl in the friend group that, started that conversation or stood up to the bully and was just really brave and confident. And so I wrote this book and it's for guys and girls. It's really for just anyone who needs a safe place to just journal their feelings and to talk about just everything going on, not just with COVID-19, but when you are a young adult, you're experiencing so much. So I really, really, really just, it's from the heart. And it's, a lot of it is kind of like an ode to my younger self. But I seriously, the feedback about this book has been more than I ever anticipated. I'm forever grateful. And honestly, it is just so cool seeing it in person.
It is. I was like, oh my God. When readers see books, I'm one of the ones that go off the cover of the book, and it's definitely something I would buy just because it's pretty. It was perfect planning. And I know as authors, you guys go through a lot with the perfect design. You have to go through different people, to see whose design is the best. You have to pick out and you have to do the rough draft or change this or change that. So it's perfect. I love it.
Thank you. That means the world to me. It's just, yeah, my illustrator, Betsy Prime, shout out to Betsy. You know who you are. So she's the best because I met her. It's so crazy. I'm a believer things happen, for a reason. And we met through just this freelancer website. She was the first girl that I found. I clicked on her name, emailed her, and we clicked right away. Her and I just bonded over so many things. And so it's cool because all of these, if you can see up close, all of, the doodles and the everything, that was my idea, but she brought it all to life. And so we totally clicked. And it's when you find an illustrator or a graphic designer that you just vibe with, it's the best thing because I'm so ADHD. I'm like, oh my God, I want this ideas. I want that. And she's like, okay. She's so calm. And she was like the yin to my yang. And it's cool because I'm working on my 5th book, a new one already. We're starting the first drafts and I'm working with her again, just because, I had such a wonderful time working with her. And I'm like, I want to, just do the same thing again. So we're already planning out the details of my next book. So I'm really excited.
Oh, that's so good. I'm happy for you. I'm happy you found your yang. That's always exciting.
She's my writing soulmate. I swear to, yeah, she's amazing.
I love it. So, okay, how was the teens' reaction when you're talking to them about mental health? I know some people like have different reactions when you know try to talk mental health about to them. Like, how was the teens' reactions when you got into it?
I would say the teens' reactions is honestly, you know, I mean, number one, when I speak about mental health with young adults, I think they can go one of two ways. I think for a lot of young adults with mental health comes like a stigma. And I think a lot of it stems from, you know, just where they grew up, their community, their upbringing, their household, their religion, like whatever they believe about mental health, whether it's a taboo topic that, you know, people shouldn't talk about and you should put under the rug, or it's something that's healthy and everyone has their own, you know, it's like physical health. Like, how is your mental health? Are you mentally staying in shape? It's like going to the gym. Like, how are you exercising your mind? Like, I think everyone has their own, you know, definition of it. So I really try to come from a place of just compassion and empathy rather than, you know, forcing my opinion on someone else. I think I have my own experience. Obviously, I had major anxiety struggles when I was in high school. There's not a specific moment that like triggered it, but just it was, you know, I remember vividly the like literally 2 weeks into my freshman year of high school. And I started high school way back like 2010. I was a freshman. Seems like ages ago. And so when I started high school, I remember literally within the first 2 weeks, I started having panic attacks, and I, you know, had no idea what they were. I literally was just, I would sit in class and all of a sudden I would just feel like my heart like start picking up, and I was like, what is going on? And the room would start kind of getting really spinning and just weird. And I was like, oh my God, am I having like a stroke? And I, you know, I would ask my teacher, literally, I'm like, can I go to the bathroom? Because I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to like pass out in class. That's so embarrassing. So I would rush off to the bathroom, and then I would just sit in the stall. I would literally sit there and just be like calming myself down. And then it's crazy because, you know, just from that moment on, I remember vividly every single day, it became like a repetitive process. And it got to the point where I was a sophomore in high school, and man, I mean, it was just like, you know, affecting like everything, like my grades. I was already to begin with, like academics, typical, like school didn't really click with me ever. So I've always been a very free spirit, like creative. I've always been into acting and public speaking, and thankfully I made a career out of it. But honestly, like just in school, you know, my grades, I was like barely passing. I was struggling, like unhealthy eating habits. I was like, everything in my life was like kind of hanging on a thread. And I was like, I just reached a point where I'm like, oh my God, like I legit, something has to change. Because it started, you know, I was only 15 and a half, and I was already starting to worry about, you know, how I would be as an adult. Like I literally had fears of like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to have a job, or, you know, like a husband, or like, how am I going to be a functioning adult if this, whatever this is? Because I still, at that age, I didn't even know it was anxiety. I thought it was like, I kept on getting the flu, because there was no conversations about mental health in my high school. So I literally was so uneducated. And a lot of people are that way about panic attacks or depression or OCD or anything. You know, they go about their life thinking like, you know, this is normal. Like, this is how I am. This is how, but it's like, it's so, you know, it's a real thing. It does, like, you know what I mean? You deserve to live such a better quality of life. And so for me, my normal for so long was having, you know, 10 panic attacks a day, and just, yeah, like 10 panic attacks a day, literally like skipping lunch because I was just had so many fears of like, what if I eat food and then, get anxious and then throw up in class? And my life, literally, I was like a shell of a person. And so, to kind of go back to what you were asking earlier, Raytysha, it's like this book, How to Thrive in the Virtual Classroom, it's not only me giving back to the students of today, but it's really just like a little, ode to my younger self, because I know at 25, I've become the person that I always, dreamt of being, but I never thought I really could be that person. So it's like, yes, you can do it. And you did it. Now you're successful. You're living in Miami, across the country. And like, you did it. You're doing the thing.
Right.
So yeah, like, it's really special. But I feel like the main inspiration really is just at the beginning of COVID. I was coaching teenagers one-on-one, and I was seeing firsthand, how really affected they were by COVID and being at home, virtual learning. A lot of them were like starting to fail class, and because they were lonely and isolated and they weren't paying attention because they're in their bedroom, like just so many things were messing with their like normal routine.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely feel it. My niece, she's struggling with the virtual learning. But it's and she already struggles academically in school. So, virtual learning doesn't help. But I'm so glad that you overcame your mental health and your panic attack. You made a career out of it. And I like it because it's like a note to your younger self, like, dear younger self, this is what's going to happen. This is how we're going to push through it. I love that for you. I'm excited to see what your next book brings and the illustration on it, of course.
Thanks.
So it has been great talking to you, and I hope we get to do this again.
Thank you so much, Raytysha. And for everyone watching, go check out my latest book, How to Thrive in the Virtual Classroom. It's my fourth book, and it's available on my website. And starting October 10th, this will be available on Amazon, paperback, for Kindle ebook. Me and my illustrator are currently working on the hardcover version, but like I said, you guys follow me on Instagram at Meghan W. Gallagher. I post all the time. I have TikTok, Snapchat, but stay tuned for really cool, fun giveaways and updates about my book.
Well, you guys heard it from Meghan. So, by the way, let me just throw this in there. I love your last name because I love the show Shameless. So when I was like, Meghan Gallagher, I'm like, hey, these aren't even real. Let me calm down. Like, so yeah, but just had to throw that in there. I'm like, Gallagher. Okay. I love me some Gallaghers.
That show is seriously so freaking funny. That's not accurate for my family in real life, but they're amazing.
Well, that's great to hear. And we will chat sometime soon.
Thank you so much, Raytysha.
You're welcome. See you later.